Hi, my name is Eva Kornbluth, and I wanted to share.
Closer.
And I wanted to share a few words about my experience on Ramah's seminar. And Kevin, this is about 8 minutes long. Ramah's seminar is a 5-week trip to Israel with an optional week in Poland. The 9 Ramah camps come together to form this program. Growing up at Durham, we were always told, go on seminar. I spent months talking to my Ramah friends about our upcoming trip. Then, 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion against Iran. 3 days later, the program was canceled. Thank you for listening to my speech. Just kidding. After the cancellation, they encouraged us to work at our home Ramah camps. But since Durham had already started and there were no open positions, I ended up at Ramah Nyack, a day camp in New York, with 13 of my Durham friends and around 15 Ramah kids from other camps. Nyack is a day camp, but the counselors sleep over. We were to replace the 90 Israeli counselors who couldn't travel to the U.S. My friends and I arrived, got settled in, and then that very first night, they announced, the first plane of Israelis will be here tomorrow. We were confused about what our jobs would now be. Then, 2 days later, came the email. It was 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 24th, the night before the campers arrived for their first day. The subject line read, "We're going to Israel." We had until midnight, just 3.5 hours, to decide if we were going. If I said yes, I'd be leaving Sunday. That night, I spent hours on the phone with my parents and old counselors who had been on seminar before. We even had a meeting with the Nyack camp director to talk about the risks, safety, the chance of being stuck in Israel, and what would happen if it got canceled again. Finally, at around 11:30, after hours of stress, tears, and even some square dancing, I said yes. Out of the 13 of us from Durham at Nyack, 7 decided to go. We scrambled to send clothes home, buy supplies, and get ready to go to Israel. When we landed, it felt even more special because of everything we had gone through to get there. Our group was much smaller, 92 instead of almost 300 who originally signed up. From Durham, we were 9 instead of 40. But you could tell every single person who came really wanted to be there. And that energy carried throughout the whole trip. My bus group clicked immediately. We spent bus rides thinking of ideas for nightly events and making posters for them. These events included a cappella nights, building-wide hide-and-go-seek, and even a slam poetry night. I loved being part of a group that bought into every idea with full enthusiasm, no matter how silly or ambitious. The first week, we were up north hiking, swimming in the Sea of Galilee and visiting historical sites. We even saw the border of Syria. Then we moved to Jerusalem, spending 2 weeks exploring the city, shopping, and taking Tiyuls to Tel Aviv. One of the most powerful moments for me was standing at the Kotel. Looking up at these stones, I thought about how Jews have been praying there for 2,000 years, and now here I was, adding my own prayer to that history. In that moment, I felt not just proud to be Jewish, but deeply connected to the generations before me. It made me realize that Judaism isn't just something I do at camp or at home, it's something I am. There were moments of just pure joy too. One day, our group got caught in the middle of a bar mitzvah parade at the Kotel. Suddenly, we were swept up, singing and dancing through the plaza with complete strangers. And I remember thinking, only in Israel could I feel this kind of instant family connection, where someone else's simcha feels like my own. Later, we split into Etgar, which means challenge. I chose Yam Liyam, the sea-to-sea hike from the Sea of Galilee to the Mediterranean. It was intense and exhausting, but by the time we reached the second sea, we felt so accomplished. We went south, snorkeling in Eilat, climbing Masada at sunrise, and even making snow angels in the Negev desert sand. We also had heavy moments, listening to stories from families of hostages and survivors of the Nova Festival. I even had the privilege of hearing from Rachel Goldberg-Pullen, the mother of Hirsch. She's an incredible woman and a hero to me and so many others. Hearing about Hirsch from her perspective was one of the most powerful things I have heard in my life. Those conversations made me realize how important it is to hold on to Jewish unity and resilience. And then, of course, there were sirens. Over the summer, we had 3. One in particular stands out to me. It was our final Shabbat in Jerusalem, davening Kabbalat Shabbat at the youth village, like every seminar had done before us. There's a Ramah Jerome tradition that during Mizmor LeDavid, we don't do the Yain and Eyes. Instead, we sing the words, Lachol Makom She'ani Olech, Ani Olech La'eretz Yisrael. It means, everywhere I go to the land of Israel. We had been slowly teaching this tradition to the other camps all summer. That night, halfway through Mizmor LeDavid, the sirens went off. As we rushed to the bomb shelters, we didn't stop singing. For 10 minutes, we stayed there, packed in, dancing and clapping and singing, Lechol Makom and Am Yisrael Chai. It was an incredibly powerful moment that summed up the whole summer, the give and take between us and Israel. Going into the summer, I assumed I'd mostly stick with my Durham friends. But by the end, I had gotten to know people from every Ramah camp, and the friendships I made will last far beyond seminar. On the last night, sitting with my friends from across the country, I realized how rare it is to form such deep connections in such a short time. That, to me, was one of the greatest gifts of the summer. Knowing I had become part of one larger Jewish community that I will have someone to visit in almost every city I go to. We were so fortunate to be in Israel at this time. We were grateful to be there, and the people of Israel were grateful we had come. When I came home, I realized that seminar didn't just give me memories, it gave me a stronger Jewish identity. Even though it can be very hard with today's climate, I feel more confident now in saying, I am proud to be Jewish, I am proud to be connected to Israel, and I want to keep building Jewish community wherever I go. This summer, when I go back to Durham as a counselor, I know I'll be telling all my campers the same thing I heard when I was their age. Go on seminar. L'shana tova.